He had never imagined that a casual joke could spiral into interstellar chaos. Marcus had always considered himself unremarkably a mid-level engineer aboard the exploration vessel Odyssey, tasked with surveying newly discovered planets for humanity's growing colonies. Yet here he was, standing in the central chamber of an alien palace, the walls pulsating with a soft bioluminescence that seemed almost alive, and hearing words that would forever redefine his place in the galaxy. "I said yes," dear Marcus murmured under his breath, mostly to himself. The words had left his mouth lightly, intended as nothing more than a fleeting joke in response to a teasing gesture. He had not anticipated that the alien queen's nurse, an elegant, six-limbed creature with opalescent skin that shimmered in the ambient light, would echo them so seriously. "Mate," she had said, tilting her head and smiling with a precision that left Marcus frozen. The room fell into silence. Marcus's chest tightened as he tried to process the meaning behind that simple word. In human terms, a mate was a partner, a bond forged with intimacy and respect. But in the Queen's culture, it was far more binding, a declaration that carried weight across the entire alien hierarchy. He glanced at the nurse again, and the subtle curve of her multiple eyes suggested amusement, or perhaps anticipation. Marcus's mind raced. He wasn't ready for this. He had come to this planet to perform standard reconnaissance, to record atmospheric data and report anomalies, not to accidentally enter into some interstellar social contract that might obligate him to a life among a species whose biology and culture he barely understood. Yet, as the seconds stretched, Marcus realized the eyes of the palace staff were upon him, a silent chorus of expectation. Their shapes were varied, some insectoid, some reptilian, but all of them carried an unmistakable air of reverence toward the Queen, who reclined on her elevated platform, her posture flawless, her gaze serene yet piercing. The Queen's eyes met Marcus's, and in that instant, he sensed that the room had narrowed to only two beings. The universe itself seemed to pause. Marcus's voice faltered. I didn't mean," but the nurse interrupted him, her tone gentle but firm. "The bond is recognized. The Queen will hear your words." Before he could protest further, the Queen's voice echoed, smooth and resonant, vibrating through the chamber like a low hum of energy. "Marcus," she said, each syllable deliberate, "your humor has led to clarity. You have agreed." Marcus felt the floor tilt beneath him. Humor, clarity, agreed. He swallowed hard, struggling to understand how a moment of jest could carry consequences across species, planets, and the delicate protocols that governed the Queen's court. "You must know," the nurse continued, gliding closer, "that in our culture, words spoken in the chamber are binding. The statement of consent, even as jest, cannot be revoked lightly. The Queen will decide how to proceed." Marcus glanced at the human translators, whose faces mirrored a mix of shock and fascination. Even the senior officers aboard the Odyssey had never encountered such a scenario. This was the kind of interstellar incident that could shift political alliances or start wars. And yet, amid the chaos in his mind, Marcus found an unlikely calm settling over him. Perhaps it was the stoic majesty of the Queen, or the patient guidance of her nurse, but he realized he had a rare opportunity, the chance to demonstrate humanity's value, its ingenuity, and its resilience, in a way that words alone might never convey. The Queen studied him in silence, her tentacle-like appendages resting gracefully by her sides. Then she spoke again, this time more softly. "If we are to recognize this bond, you must prove that your words carry more than jest. You must act, Marcus, in a way that reflects the spirit of your species." He blinked. Prove it. The implications stretched across his imagination. Was she asking him to fight? To solve a problem? To demonstrate some human trait that might earn her respect? Before he could ask, an alarm blared through the chamber. The soft bioluminescent walls flickered, casting long shadows that danced across the Queen's form. Soldiers stole, armored and sleek, rushed in from the corridors. The nurse moved with him toward the platform, keeping a protective stance. "An intruder fleet approaches," she said, her voice steady but tinged with urgency. "They are not part of our treaty. You will assist." Marcus's stomach lurched. This was beyond reconnaissance. This was a real threat, a hostile force, intent on breaching the palace and possibly targeting the Queen herself. His mind raced through training and simulations, trying to recall the emergency protocols he had memorized but hoped never to use. The Queen's eyes locked with his once more. "Show us what your species can do," she said, and then instinct took over. Marcus sprinted toward the command console embedded in the floor, a sleek array of alien technology that responded to touch and thought alike. He had studied enough schematics during his preliminary briefings to understand the basics. Slowly, cautiously, he began to interface with the system, translating his knowledge of human coding and engineering into commands that the alien network could recognize. The palace trembled as the intruders advanced. Energy shields flared to life, forming barriers that pulsed in time with Marcus's commands. Defensive drones took to the air, responding faster than anything human-built he had ever seen. Yet, the alien fleet was massive, coordinated, and relentless. Marcus's heart pounded in his chest, each beat a reminder of how high the stakes had become. Hours, or what felt like hours, passed in a blur of calculation and strategy. Marcus learned to move instinctively, directing the palace's defenses with a mixture of human intuition and adaptive reasoning. Each successful maneuver elicited a subtle acknowledgement from the queen, a tilt of her head, a shift in the light of her eyes. Slowly he sensed respect forming between them, a silent agreement that perhaps humanity could hold its own in ways they had never anticipated. At last, the intruders retreated, their fleet withdrawing into the depths of space, leaving a tense but victorious silence behind. The palace lights dimmed to a soft glow, and the queen rose from her platform. She approached Marcus, each step measured. "Regal, you have done well," she said, her voice carrying a warmth he had not expected. "Your species is remarkable. Humor can be deceptive, Marcus, but your actions have proven that words and deeds together define true strength." Marcus exhaled, finally feeling the weight of tension lift. I didn't know what I was agreeing to," he admitted. "I just reacted." The nurse smiled at him, her eyes gleaming. "And that reaction saved us all. You are no longer simply a visitor. You are part of our court, recognized as the mate of the queen. It is a bond of respect and loyalty, one that transcends the trivialities of origin or race." Marcus looked at the queen, who inclined her head slightly. "I accept the bond," she said, "not because of a joke, but because you have shown courage, intellect, and the unpredictability that defines your kind. We will learn from one another." For the first time, Marcus felt a strange sense of belonging, as if the vast emptiness of space had finally led him to a place where his choices mattered. The human officers watched in awe, realizing that this single, accidental bond had the potential to reshape interstellar politics, diplomacy, and the perception of humanity across multiple species. The nurse guided him to the platform, offering a gesture of inclusion. "Come," she said, "let the court recognize your role. Let your species' light shine among ours." Marcus stepped forward, feeling the weight of countless eyes, of history, and of responsibility. Yet, amid the gravity of the moment, he could not help but smile. A joke had led him here, yes, but courage, quick thinking, and humanity's stubborn resilience had kept him standing. That as he approached the queen, he understood something fundamental. Humor might open doors, but actions build bridges, and in the vast tapestry of the galaxy, humanity was just beginning to prove that its light could illuminate even the darkest corridors of alien worlds. The palace erupted in muted celebration, not with loud cheers, but with patterns of light and vibration that resonated deep within Marcus's chest. The nurse moved beside him, a quiet affirmation that he had passed the test of culture, courage, and spirit. He glanced at the queen, who now extended a graceful appendage. "Together," she said simply, "we move forward." Marcus nodded. "Together," he echoed. In that moment he realized that being human in a galaxy of alien wonder was more than survival. It was influence, ingenuity, and the unyielding spark that refused to be ignored. He had joked, yes, but humanity had acted, and the universe had taken notice. The bond was recognized, the palace secured, and Marcus's life, once ordinary, had been irrevocably transformed. He was no longer just an explorer or engineer. He was a representative of humanity, a mate in a culture alien to him, and a testament to the unpredictable, formidable power of human courage. For Marcus, the galaxy had suddenly become both larger and more intimate than he had ever imagined. And as the alien court welcomed him, he realized that the joke, the bond, and the battle had forged a new truth. Humans, when underestimated, could change worlds. And sometimes, the simplest words spoken as a joke would echo across the stars with consequences no one could foresee.